Week 1 of high school football is in the books. No more preseason prognostications, no more guessing on what's going to happen. We've got actual high school football to talk about. This is the Under the Lights podcast presented by KEYSYS. I'm your host, Kyle Parmley, joined today by the man of many titles, Josh Sisk. Some of you know him as Ush. Some of you know him as a commissioner.
That's right.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm really
glad to be here, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to talk a little high school football because we are at Jaguar Stadium, the site of the Under the Lights Game 2, Week 2, Game of the Week. It's going to be Hoover paying a visit to their cross-city rivalry, Spain Park. It's going to be a great night. You think they'll pack the stadium out?
I think the place is going to be packed. It's a revenge game for Hoover. Big rematch. Huge game for both teams, obviously. Different classifications now, 7A, 6A, but that rivalry is strong. Last year's matchup was an absolute classic. Yeah. I do think that this week is going to be another good one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great one. Let me tell you a little bit about our partners at KEYSYS. They're going to be the presenting sponsor for all things Under the Lights all season long. Look, AI is starting to kind of take over the world. I know you probably deal with a little bit of that here
Absolutely.
And there. But KEYSYS is the place to go if you need any sort of AI needs tailored to your business. They can do that for you. KEYSYS.io is the place to go to check them out. And thanks to them for partnering with us on Under the Lights this year. So let's talk a little bit about that game last year. 39-37, Spain Park wins it. Spain Park jumps out early. Hoover makes their charge. And then Brock Bradley finds Corey Barber for that game-winning touchdown. That was a really big win for the Jags.
It's going to be completely different this year, obviously. You're looking at different teams. And no Corey Barber for Spain Park. We know more about Spain Park from week 1, in my opinion, than we know about Hoover. Mm-hmm. So Spain Park comes up to Sparkman, gets the win, 48-21 over Sparkman. No Corey Barber, but Brock Bradley has a lot of targets. And first off, we'll start with Brock. What an advantage you have to have a 3-year starting quarterback, Clemson commit Brock Bradley, one of the all-time greats in Spain Park history. But the targets that he's got. So Keener Rigo's gotten the most attention. He had a touchdown Friday night, but sophomore Nick McKissick had a big game. These stats available on Under the Lights, my good friend Kyle Parmley. 149 yards on 19 carries. Mason McClure, he had a breakout game. 4 catches, 121 yards. J.D. Thompson, 5 catches for 104 yards. Also Hudson Hibbard with a touchdown as well. Great offensive line play from Spain Park. So Brock has a number of weapons. I do think they have a balanced attack. Now, for the Hoover Bucks, a 34-13 loss to IMG, but what do you really know from that loss?
That doesn't tell the full story.
I don't think it does either. I'm really interested to see how Caleb Freeman, quarterback for Hoover, making his second start for Hoover, transfer out of Pleasant Grove, how does he fare against the Spain Park defense? To me, that's going to be a key matchup. Also, Spain Park's defense versus the Hoover running game.
Yeah.
I think is going to be a key matchup there. So we're going to find out a lot more about Hoover from this game, but we're going to find out a lot about Spain Park as well.
Yeah, I agree. I really, that Brock Bradley receiving trio that he's got, I am really interested to see how that develops throughout the year because last year Corey Barber was sensational, but now some new guys have got to step up. And I also want to give some highlight to this Hoover defense. They've got studs all over the place. I mean, you've got Tyson Bacon on the D-line, Trey Sanders. You got guys just all over the place, Justin Hartley, that are going to be a problem for all opponents all season long, but especially here on this field on Friday night.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the defense. So these teams, I think, are going to trade blows. I think there's going to be some big heavyweight shots, just like we saw last year. But I think this game is going to come down to key stops. Mm-hmm. And the pressure is going to be on both defenses, and we'll see who rises to the occasion on it.
Yeah, so you've been around this Spain Park community for a long time. What do you think that win – because last year, Hoover has dominated this series in the history between these two. 2015 being the only other year that Spain Park had beaten Hoover, and they did it twice that year. That was a magical year for the Jags. And then up until last year, they hadn't done it since. So what do you think that did for the program? Was there a little bit of a little bit more belief that, hey, we can hang with that school across town?
It was a lot of belief in that, and it was just a validation. It was a celebration. It was such a special moment on the field after the game. A lot of hugs going on. People were just thrilled because that's something. And if you're a fan of Hoover High School, a parent, a player of Hoover High School, you should take that as a compliment to know that beating you means so much, and it does for Spain Park. That was absolutely a highlight in a season filled with highlights for Spain Park. That one was very special. When you can beat Hoover, no matter what year it is, that says something about your squad. And just to have the game be such a dynamic contest, that was a lot too.
We'll have one of the best PA guys in the business on the mic on Friday night too. Won't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll have Mr. Latch handling things. Place is going to be rocking here. Got new lights debuting. Lights were a big issue last year.
Yeah.
Little controversy on lights. Don't expect orange lights here no matter what happens. But Hoover crowd is going to show out. Spain Park crowd is going to show out. First home game for Spain Park on the season. I think it's going to be an absolutely electric atmosphere. Temperatures are down, hoping for no rain, and we have good weather for it as well.
Yeah, we've been standing out here for a few minutes and aren't just pouring sweat already.
Yeah,
so
that's a welcome change.
That is a good sign. Before we move on, I want to touch a little bit more about Hoover's loss to IMG last week. Look, IMG Academy out of Florida, an incredible program, a dominant team, and there were a few things from, even though Hoover lost the game by a few touchdowns, did you see Jeremiah Tabbs' catch? That was SportsCenter material. He's going to be a great target for this Bucs offense this year.
Yeah, spectacular catch. I think if you're Hoover, you're encouraged that you had the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Again, the IMG team is just so hard to compare with anyone else you're going to be playing for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I want to tell you, our Hoover Bucs coverage all season long brought to you by South Lake Orthopedics. Less pain, more living. I know I was doing a video last week, and I kind of got it mixed up. I don't think they want more pain.
They do not. No, good folks there, and they want less pain, more living.
Absolutely. All right, so let's run down the rest of the Week 2 slate that the Under the Lights team will be keeping tabs on. We've got a Thursday night game this week.
We do, a big one.
Big one. Vestavia Hills is hosting Auburn. This early season slate last year for Vestavia was just, it was so tough. They had three games right off the start that they lost, and just, man, really tough competition. But Vestavia starts off with a dominant win last week over Westside out of South Carolina. They got to feel good about that. And they're going to need to feel good because they're welcoming a really, really good Auburn team this week.
New voice of the Rebels, friend of the show, Jim Dunaway.
Absolutely.
That alone, reason to tune in to see that one.
Yeah, so this Auburn team led by Keith Etheridge, they're always one of the best in the state. And they got to play this one on Thursday because if you know anything about the Auburn community, they got a big one on Friday night too that we'll be keeping track of as well, the Auburn Tigers heading out to Waco to play the Baylor Bears. That'll be a fun one. So if you see me with an AirPod in my ear Friday, you'll have an idea of what's going on.
There you go.
All right, so a bunch of Friday games. Let's start with a team I saw play last week. Briarwood is going to host Homewood. This Homewood team looked dominant. The Battle of Lakeshore, they killed John Carroll.
They did.
And then Briarwood, coming off of a loss to rival Oak Mountain, this will be a chance for them to face another really tough team right off the bat.
That's a tough schedule for Briarwood.
Yeah.
Tough opening at Oak Mountain, and then what I think is going to be a very good Homewood team this year. They were absolutely dominant last week from beginning of game to end.
Yeah, head coach Ben Bergeson has talked all summer about how much he expects from quarterback Caleb Carson because of what they saw from him in limited duty last year. He was spectacular, and he looked the part again on Friday night. The ball hardly touched the ground when he was throwing it. So Homewood feels good about their start. Our Homewood coverage this year brought to you by The Edge. If you're looking for a vibrant space for food, fun, and community in Homewood, suitable for your whole family, that's the place to go. An outdoor food hall, live events each week, right off of Green Springs. Visit their website at theedgehomewood.com. All right, so speaking of John Carroll, they're kind of licking their wounds a little bit, but they got a really cool night planned this week. First of all, they're hosting St. Michael, which St. Michael piques the interest of a lot of folks in this area because that's where Phillip Rivers is the head coach, and his son Gunner, a fantastic quarterback. So they're coming up to Homewood to play John Carroll, but this will be a really cool night at John Carroll. They're dedicating their stadium. They've got new turf on the field.
Yeah.
They've got Pat Sullivan's Heisman branding in the end zone. It's a really cool thing they got going on at John Carroll, and they're going to celebrate this. They're going to dedicate the field. And it's just going to be a really cool night to welcome back some alumni, celebrate past teams, and hopefully get a win in the process.
John Carroll, also a very good quarterback on their coaching staff, Stan White. So hoping the fighting Stan Whites at John Carroll pull out the victory.
Yeah, and Stan White is he's tutoring Garrett Barnes now, who's in his second year at quarterback for John Carroll. And he had some flashes last year, had some flashes last Friday night. So the Cavs are hoping for big things as they get going this year with him. Sponsoring our John Carroll coverage this year, Barlow Wealth Advisory Group. Their tagline, we help people be successful in life and business. I know I want to be successful in both of those as well.
I'll take it.
Barlow-wag.com to see our friends there. All right, let's run down a few more of the games. Mountain Brook is paying a visit to defending state champion Parker. Mountain Brook had a great tune-up last week. They beat Demopolis 44-7. That running attack with Stuart Andrews is as good as it gets. It's going to be again this year. But that road trip to Parker is going to be quite tough.
Man, shout out to my boy Gabe Smith at Mountain Brook and all the guys there at Parker as well. My friend Miles McKee on that coaching staff. This is what an incredible matchup in week 2. This is absolutely incredible. Do not be surprised if you see a repeat of this once again in the playoffs. These are 2 of the top programs facing off against each other in 6A.
They played twice last year. They played once in the regular season, and Mountain Brook kind of let it slip away. And then they met again in the playoffs, and Parker was able to kind of pull away at the end. So this has kind of been one that, Mountain Brook, they're well taught, the players, when they talk to cameras or in interviews, they know better than to say, "Oh, we really want this Parker game," but you could tell they really want another chance.
Defending state champs, what a team from Parker, and they look loaded again this year.
Absolutely. So that'll be a great test for the Mountain Brook Spartans. All right, so we will run through a few more that we've got. Chelsea paying a visit to Wetumpka. This Chelsea team, it was kind of on this field last year that things started to go south, but they started 6-0.
They did.
They made the playoffs, and that was great for the Hornets. They looked great against Charles Henderson last Friday night, so road trip to Wetumpka, hoping to go to 2-0.
Yeah, they put up a lot of points last week, and so I think their confidence has got to be high and looking to kind of repeat what they did in the start of last year with another strong start.
All right, Hewitt-Trustful paying a visit to Gadsden City. Fun fact about this Hewitt-Trustful team, they have pitched 3 straight regular season shutouts. Games 9 and 10 last year, 0s. And then last Friday night against Jag, another 0. Can they make it 4 against Gadsden City?
Is there anything more encouraging for your team than to pitch a shutout? And so to be able to rely on your defense to allow 0 points, they have to be coming into this thing very confident.
Now, defensive coordinator Sean Talsma does such a great job at Hewitt. They averaged fewer than 10 points per game last year. They've got the All-South Metro Defensive Player of the Year and Parker Floyd back at linebacker. Breaking in a new quarterback, Zach Benedict, had a great game last Friday. So we'll see how the Huskies progress. But, yeah, another opportunity to get a big win.
They always seem to reload. It's just a strong program. They got a good culture there in Trustful.
All right, Oak Mountain going to host Pelham. It was really interesting to see Oak Mountain last week in that game against Briarwood, because it was one of those where you win the game and head coach Shane McComb after the game is like, well, I'm glad we won, but goodness, we've got so many other things to get better at. And that's got to be a good place to be when you win, and then you look at it and you go, man, we've got all these things that I know that we can improve on.
Well, we talked about defense for our game of the week. I would bet on the defense in this game as well. Take the under. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair, Oak Mountain versus Pelham. Pelham, obviously, rebuilding, trying to and they saw some encouraging things as well last week in the loss. But Oak Mountain starting off with a big win. I think defensively they're strong. I think a low-scoring game in that one.
All right, and finally, Clay Chalkville is they're playing at Ramsey. Well, they're playing at Legion Field, but a Ramsey team that has been a perennial power in 5A the last several years. But Clay Chalkville is a team looking to reestablish itself as a championship contender in 6A. Boy, they made a statement last week with that huge win over Hueytown. So if they can back that up at Legion Field this Friday night, that'll be a big start for the Cougars.
It's another week 2 matchup against teams that you're going to expect to see in the postseason, and teams that could make big runs in the postseason with those 2.
Absolutely. Once again, we want to let you know that Under the Lights is being brought to you by our friends at KEYSYS all season long. KEYSYS.io. If you got any AI needs for your business or your personal life, they're the people to go talk to. All right, Ush, so what are you feeling? I mean, it's going to be a big night out here Friday night. Spain Park's got a lot of things to figure out, and they look good in week 1 against Sparkman. So what are you thinking?
Well, the fear of the unknown. Again, I don't think you know too much about this year's Hoover team and what they're capable of, and we're going to find that out for sure on Friday night. I think that Hoover is going to be very well prepared coming here, and I think they're going to give a tremendous effort on this field. Come on, Kyle, I'm not going against my Jags. I predict that Tim Vakakis, who wants to win as much as anyone I've ever met in my entire life, you got a great group of experienced guys on this team that have been building and building and building. This group of seniors, they came in as freshmen in Vakakis' first year. Yeah. So they've been with him. They're the first crew to ride all the way through him for their tenure. And I'm going to take a very, very, very tight Spain Park victory. Kyle, I think, again, it comes down to big stops in the end.
Yeah. Well, I learned a long time ago that public predictions will get me in a whole lot of hot water that quite frankly don't want to be in.
Send all hate mail my way. I'm used to it. Trust me.
But yeah, it's going to be a great night on Friday night. I've always loved, even when some of those years when Spain Park was a little bit down compared to Hoover and Josh Niblett had all his great teams. This game was always, it felt like a big game. It was played like a big game, and I expect much of the same on Friday night. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Hoover's like the Alabama Crimson Tide of high school football in this state. They alone bring a big game atmosphere.
Yep.
And so going to be a good one. We just got a great slate of games in week 2. I can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. So, Josh, thanks for joining us today. It was a whole lot of fun to talk some high school football coming up on week 2. You got to be following us on the Under the Lights social media channels on X at UnderLights365. It's constantly pouring in game updates on Friday night, all the post-game stories. And you got to figure out how to subscribe to the Saturday morning newsletter. You can find that on our Facebook page as well. Just search Under the Lights and it'll probably pop up. So, I don't know, man. We'll see what we get on Friday night. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Post-game video Friday night after the games?
We'll give it another shot.
Okay.
Week one Under Lights post-game show went pretty well. So we will hopefully get that rolling. We had a couple of guys jump on with me after the games to talk about where they were at and what they saw. So if you got any ideas, shoot them my way. I'm on X at Kyle Parmley. Thanks to Spain Park for having us out here today. And on Friday night, we'll be
on the lookout for these.
If you hadn't found an Under
Gotta
the Lights,
have this. This is an essential for your high school football season.
Yep, I appreciate it. So until next time, this has been the Under the Lights Week 2 Preview Podcast.